So the way this works is they have a 3-minute introduction, they have a 3-minute closing statement, and they have 3-minute float time. How they use that is up to them. You can do a 1-minute introduction, you can do a 1-minute closing, you can do a 5-minute opening, a 1-minute closing, or actually there's 9 minutes there, so you can mess with that any way you want. And the reason for that is if we get into a question that you want to go back and forth on a while, there's plenty of time. And after each 4 questions, we will stop, we will tell you what your float time is. So, then the way we're going to do this is like last week, those of you who were here last week, 3 questions. The candidates will ask each other 3 questions, and that will be alternated with my 6 questions. And if we get done under 45 minutes, I may throw out a 7th question. But other than that, that's how it's going to run. And our float time and questions and answers are all done in 15-second increments. Now the candidates on their 3 questions will have 30 seconds to ask the question, 1 minute to answer the question, and 1 minute to rebut the question. And after that, they're on their float time or whatever time they have left. The yellow lid is for 10 seconds left before your time is up, and then, of course, the red lid is your time is up. But if you have plenty of time, you can just ignore that and go. And to make this run smooth tonight, I ask both of you, and it's up to me too, once we get into the rhythm. So Mr. Bosetti will go first. He will ask a question. And then when that's done, when the answer and the rebuttal is done, I will ask a question. Then I will go back to Mr. Dahle, and he'll do his question, answer, rebuttal routine. Then it'll come back to me. So kind of like a alternating deal here with a total of 12 or maybe possibly 13 questions. And I think that's it. So unless the candidates have any questions, we'll get moving. Dick's getting antsy over here. Okay. Oh, I forgot the microphones. Okay. You should have a green power light on the top. And then at the bottom is the mute. So when you speak, you undo the mute and push it up.
So do I go first with a question, or do I do my opening 3 minutes thing?
Ah, yes. I didn't look at my notes that close. So you will go first with the opening, and then Mr. Dahle will go first with the question.
All right. Thank you very much. I want to thank everyone here, especially the Redding Tea Party Patriots, for putting this forum on, and then for all of you for coming out on a Monday night football night. You know, that will be the last of the football jokes here. My goal here tonight is that you can see that there is a clear difference between myself and my opponent. I'm a small government guy, and I believe that my opponent is a large government guy. And so we'll get right into that. We have to look at the teams that we've assembled here and how we're going to work. He now has everybody who ran the last 2 campaigns against Senator LaMalfa now running his campaigns. You know, we know what those were like. I have a real strong suspicion that we can expect a lot of accusations. I'm going to be hearing about some bankruptcies and my use of eminent domain. I'm taking money from special interests in Sacramento. You know, people like Cal Chamber, perhaps maybe even people like the California Association of Realtors. But I'll answer each and every question with all clarity. Won't sidestep anything. But why I'm here is I want to bring jobs back to California. You know, we've done a pretty good job getting things going here in Redding in the past 7-8 months. And, you know, by reforming the CEQA and the California ADA, we can get some bureaucratic abuses out of the way and let small business start growing again here in California. But one of the most important things I want to do when I get down to Sacramento is I want to find a permanent funding source for the Veterans Home out on Knighton Road. Because all those guys that went and did everything they did to honor our country, they need to be shown their honor now in their golden years. So with that, thank you again for coming tonight, and look forward to the evening.
Good evening, and thank you for the Tea Party Patriots for having this event, putting it on. It is appropriate that we're here in God's church, and it's been respectful. I enjoyed the last time that we were able to meet. I'm Brian Dahle. I'm from Lassen County. My family has homesteaded in Siskiyou County in the 30s, bought some land in Lassen County in the 40s, and I continue to farm the same ground that my grandfather bought in 1942 in Lassen County. I own and operate a seed business with my wife Megan and our 3 children. Megan actually owns a plant nursery, and we make seed and sell it to other farmers and farm supplies. We have full and part-time employees, but I've had the opportunity to serve on the Lassen County Board of Supervisors for the last 16 years. Our county is debt-free. We own all of our assets. Our pensions are funded. Our unfunded liabilities are funded, and we have a reserve. We have balanced the budget for 16 years, and that's something that California needs to do and the federal government needs to do. Debt is what's driving this country down, and we need to be responsible, and we need to take care of the debt. I've been endorsed by 30 county supervisors. I've worked with a lot of them representing California on state and local issues, and also at the national level. 3 of those supervisors are here in Lassen County, or in Shasta County. I've also been endorsed by Congressman McClintock, Dan Logue as Assembly member, and Sue Horn, who ran against Dan Logue in the last election cycle, or a couple of cycles ago, for Assembly. So people from both sides of opponents actually have endorsed me. I've been endorsed by the State Sheriff's Association, the California Republican Assembly, and also I believe that the reason I have so much support from these folks is because I've been able to bring people together to do what's right for the constituents of Lassen County, and for, quite frankly, all the Assembly District. So I thank you for having me here tonight, and I look forward to getting into the issues.
So Mr. Dahle, you'll go first with the first question to Mr. Bosetti.
Well, Rick, I may surprise you. All those things you talked about are not on my list. I do have a question, though. In 2008, when the city was in financial trouble, you had the opportunity to cut your retirement benefits, and you voted no. But you voted to but you voted to cut pay and benefits for other city employees and the city police officers' positions. Why did you not vote to take a reduction in your own benefits?
And my specific benefits? My specific benefits. Well, $600 a month, Brian. We did. I'm paying the CalPERS on $600 a month now. I didn't think that the $7,200 a year that I was making at that particular time was going to be the issue on whether or not we balanced our budget.
Rebuttal? Okay, you'll pass on the rebuttal. Okay, my question will be this 1 minute response. And we will, Rick will answer it first, and then, I'm sorry, Mr. Bosetti will answer it first, and Mr. Dahle will answer it second. Please explain why the nature and purpose of government is in direct conflict with collective bargaining by public employees.
Well, because public employees are there to be servants to the public. They're protected by all the rules and regulations that we have in our state. I think it was Franklin Delano Roosevelt that said the worst thing that could happen is that we unionized the government employees. And, you know, I stand solidly behind that. You know, there's job security is already there. I know at the city, if you try to have someone who isn't performing their job, it's very difficult. And, you know, it used to be when you got into the civil servant world, you knew you were going to take a little less in pay for the security of having that job.
Well, that's true. FDR did say that, but it's the system we work under right today. If we wanted to change the laws that are there, we need to put it on the ballot and change it. And it's actually the states' rights that give that opportunity. It's not the federal rights. So at this time, we're working in that environment, and those are the rules we play by. And if we want to change those, we should put it on the ballot and change it.
Okay, Mr. Bosetti, your question number one to Mr. Dahle.
Yes, you know, I've always really supported our state senator, Doug LaMalfa, in all of his campaigns as he ran. And I was just wondering why you flip-flopped on your endorsement of Senator LaMalfa in his campaign against a Democrat opponent.
Actually, I had a private conversation with he's going to be our congressman, LaMalfa. I supported Doug on when he ran for the state assembly. I supported Doug all through the years, and I still support Doug. I did ask him to take my name off of his endorsement list when they came under in federal investigation for the acts that happened in the primary, and so that's what happened.
Oh, my rebut to that is I didn't take my name off his list.
Okay. My question, and Mr. Dahle, I'll go first with the answer, followed by Mr. Bosetti. Development, Relief, and Education for Alien Minors Act, known as the DREAM Act, will allow illegal non-citizens the right to taxpayer-funded college education. Explain why you do or do not support this. 1 minute.
I do not support it. I believe that we should take care of our own citizens and their illegal aliens.
I'll go a little farther in my adamant refuting of this DREAM Act. A big part of the money's coming out of the Cal Grant program. And I have a lot of my baseball players who are on Cal Grants. A couple of them are American citizen Hispanic kids from Los Angeles that will not be able to come back to Simpson University because they won't have enough money, because it's going to be taken and given to people who are not legal regardless. So dead set against it and would fight it vehemently.
Okay. No comment.
Can I go? This is a question about eminent domain. Rick, you voted to use eminent domain. In 2 cases, you voted to take private property from one person to benefit another private property developer. How can you say that you're for private property rights when you voted to take private property away?
Well, you didn't read close enough, because nobody took anyone's private property. One of them is right out here, on this street right out here, folks. And it's an easement to widen the road. But the one that really got everyone riled up was about the sewer easement that we use eminent domain on Mr. Cox over off of Buenaventura. 320 feet of his driveway now will have a 4-inch sewer pipe laid down the middle of it, 3.5 foot deep. His driveway will be paved with asphalt, and he is compensated with $4,200. For 11 years, he held up the property rights of 17 other landowners who were trying to develop their land behind him. And with that vote, none of his land was taken from him. It wasn't given to anyone else. A sewer line was installed, and he was compensated, and it was paved.
I definitely want to rebut. So basically what you're saying then, Mr. Bosetti, is that if you're in the general plan and that's the rules, then it's okay to take somebody's private property right. That gentleman ended up with a development on the other side of his property that he did not want there. Private property rights are the #1 thing that makes America great.
No, none of his property was ever taken. So if you're going to be interested about property rights, what about the 17 landowners that had 180 acres behind them that had the right to develop theirs as well? The law states that there was no taking of his land whatsoever. It was just an easement across there that had been on the books since 1974.
You still took his private property.
Well, I hope that that's not how you interpret everything if you get down to Sacramento, because if you don't understand the difference between taking property and an easement, well, maybe I had 10 years of planning commission though, folks, so maybe that's the advantage I've got.
I have 16 years of working on land use decisions, and I know the difference between private property rights and the difference between taking an easement. It's a private property rights. If you didn't have to use eminent domain, it wouldn't have been to taking.
Okay, we'll have Elizabeth report on your float time.
Guess I need a lesson on the microphone. Mr. Bosetti, you have 5 minutes, and Mr. Dahle, you have 7 minutes and 15 seconds.
Okay, next question. What is your position on the governor's pension reform? If you agree with the governor, tell us why. If you disagree with the governor, tell us your ideas. 1 minute, and Mr. Bosetti goes first.
It's a joke. If you're talking about what was passed in the last minutes of the last session, it's a joke. They talk about $35 to $40 billion worth of savings, and nothing's going to take any effect on any of the employees that are there now today. It's going to be all new people coming in, so there won't be any savings for 25 to 30 years, folks. If you're going to have truly pension reform, it has to take effect today with everyone that's there now.
I must say that the devils are in the detail, and we don't know what's really in there. I think it was an attempt to try to get some of the legislature and, quite frankly, the citizens of the state off the backs of the folks. We need to do something about pension reform, true pension reform, and I believe that it was a start, but the devil's in the details, and I don't believe that it's going to do anything for the future, or immediate future.
Mr. Bosetti, your question, number 2.
Well, I guess we could just go ahead and stay on pension reform then. Brian, you've stated many times that you want pension reform, yet you waited until there was only 2 weeks left in the primary before you began taking monies from unions, including the California Council of Labor's PAC from San Francisco. You were the only Republican in the state of California to accept money from this union. We also know of the independent expenditure opened by the police officers union for you in the tune of about $10,000. How are we to believe you truly want meaningful pension reform when you're taking monies and endorsements, CAL FIRE, Sheriff's Association, from government, labor unions, and organizations?
I received a lot of donations from a lot of people in my primary run. 430 people gave me donations in the district. 95% of the money that I raised came from small businesses, farmers, ranchers, loggers, and small independent business owners. I did receive some resources from the public safety folks, and I'm pro-public safety. I believe that's something that government should do. There's a lot of things that government shouldn't do, but we should definitely take care of our constituents when it comes to public safety. When you dial 911, you want somebody to be on the move coming your way, and I believe that myself too.
Well, how, though, are you going to be able to effectively sit and negotiate when you're owing these people?
I've been negotiating with bargaining units for 16 years. Our county's debt-free, and that's how I do it.
That's probably why you got the endorsement of the police labor negotiator.
Okay, my next question, and Mr. Dahle will go first. And this will be 1 minute. What is your position on the removal of the dams on the Klamath River?
I am opposed to any dams coming out anywhere in California. I would be in favor, and quite frankly, I've been working on a project up in, it's in Modoc County, but it affects Lassen County, the Allen Camp Dam, for the time that I've been on the Lassen County Board of Supervisors. There are many opportunities in California which I think we should be taking advantage of to do off-stream storage. For example, the site's reservoir site right out here by Red Bluff. We need to store our water in the wintertime. I am opposed to taking any dams out, period.
Can I rebut that a little bit? Well, in regards to that, you've taken a considerable amount of money from a lot of people up in that area who are avowed members of the group to take the dams out. And 80% of the people in Siskiyou County don't want the dams to come out. So again, I see a conflict here with yourself, and how are you going to be a true champion for these people if you've got 5 figures coming in from people that want to take the dams out?
That's just plain untrue. I don't know anybody that's wanting to take dams out. I've stood shoulder to shoulder with farmers in Siskiyou County when they took our water. My family farms water in 2001 for the sucker fish, and we did the bucket brigade and took water out of the Klamath Lake and put it into the canal. There was about 7,000 people that were working on that, trying to save those farms up there. I'm opposed to any dams coming out, and I will work shoulder to shoulder with agricultural people all day long.
Well, right from the Secretary's website, if anyone's afterwards, you want to see questions, whatever, I've got a list of people who are members of the Klamath Basin Restoration Act, whose singular purpose is to remove the dams. And this is from the Secretary of State's website that have contributed money to Mr. Dahle.
So you can answer the question now, Mr. Bosetti, unless you think you've answered
Well, you
it.
think you're going to have to peel me off the face of the dam before I let them blow those things up? That's my answer. You know, when you go up and sit and look at what those people are having to go through, what's going to happen to them when they take those dams out, that's electricity for 70,000 homes with no way to replace it, no costly way to replace it. And right now that electricity is in the 2 to 3 cents a kilowatt hour.
Okay, Mr. Dahle, your question number 3 to Mr. Bosetti.
The First Amendment upholds the right of free speech. You voted for a city council ordinance to restrict the First Amendment right of the people to hand out pamphlets at the city library. This action could end up costing the taxpayers of the city about $200,000. What is your reason for taking this action?
The vote is referring to is on being out in front of the library. And it was a vote to try to promote order. We wanted to have the people come and do it. We just wanted some order of it. And, you know, we're not shutting them down totally and saying, no, you can't come and do it. We just wanted to have them to be able to set up a time to come and let the people come in so that we know what you have happening there. They're using a term that this is a public place, and the lawyers are talking about whether it's a public place or not, like City Hall.
Why did you then vote to appeal it after you already had an action?
We're just following with the rest of my city council. We're just following the recommendations of our attorney because he believes that we have a very strong case to provide this order that we're trying to do.
Okay, we'll go to your float time with one more question from Mr. Bosetti and 2 from me. Probably 3 since we're going through this real fast.
Okay, and remember that this is just the usage plus or minus on questions answered, rebuttal times, and so forth. And you guys are very much to the point this evening. So, Mr. Bosetti, you have 8 minutes and 15 seconds to play with. And Mr. Dahle, you have 10 minutes.
Okay. question. And Mr. Bosetti will go first on the answer. Please explain why either of you are best suited to represent a heavily resource-based Assembly District 1.
Well, my support, contrary to my opponents, isn't government support. And what's been holding up our resources has been government. It's been the abuses of bureaucrats down at Sacramento. And when you look at the timber industry people that are supporting me, the trucking industries, the employers in this community, the employers at the state level associations, they know that I can best get the jobs going that we're trying to get going here in Northern California. And we've been able to show that in what we've done here recently in Redding. We've been able to get government out of the way about this much, folks, just by reducing fees. Can you imagine what we can do if we do that statewide? And we can get some of that CEQA reform that they tried to throw in at the end of the session, but then pulled it back.
Resources are key to the 1st Assembly District. I've served on the Quincy Library Group, which was legislation that was passed by Congressman Herger and Dianne Feinstein to try to do good forest management up in Lassen, Plumas, and Sierra counties. I'm a farmer. I have employees. I work with the dirt most of the time, not as much as I'd like to lately, but we do have in Lassen County resources. I've tried my best to continue to do good forestry management and get the state and federal government off the backs of our timber industry to help keep our biomass plants running and also keep our mills running. Those are the key things that really for this whole Assembly District. The spotted owl and the environmental movement has really hurt all the counties in this Assembly District, and those are the things that I've been doing for the last 16 years.
Do we rebut a little bit on that too? In 16 years, you have no private economy in Lassen County. The last mill closed down and moved out 11 years ago. 65 to 70% of the people in Lassen County work for government. Everyone in this room subsidizes Lassen County when they pay their California taxes for the prisons and their federal taxes for Forest Service and CAL FIRE and Caltrans. We have 500 miles of roads in the city of Redding to take care of. In Lassen County, your main arterials are 299, 89, 395, all state highways. So I don't know how much you've managed up there other than collecting the money from the state.
Well, I know that you want to paint the picture that Lassen County is it's 4,500 square miles. And by the way, 299, 139 are state highways that are taken care of by the state. We have over 450 miles of roads. A lot of those are dirt roads. And we are 68% owned, the county is 68% owned by the federal government. We don't have a tax base like you do right here in the city of Redding. So it's very difficult when you have very little tax base. And by the way, you've had an environmental movement that has worked very hard to put your businesses that rely on natural resources out of business. So to balance a budget on very limited resources, and yes, we do have state prisons, but along with state prisons comes the families that don't always work and they're on assistance. The county is the ones that are reliable for the assistance, and the city, which is the city of Susanville, gets the tax base from the sales tax. Cities live on sales tax. Counties rely on property tax. I want to use some of my float time. When you rely on property tax, which is capped by Prop 13, these are some of the differences between me and my opponent. I've balanced the budget on not the ability of raising taxes. It's capped by Prop 13. In the city, you get the sales tax. So there is a big difference. The counties are a subdivision of the state. That's different than what a city is.
All the more reason to ask the question of what have you done for economic development in 16 years there? If you know that you only have the property taxes, why aren't you doing more development up there? Why aren't you bringing more people in there? Your only redevelopment program you have going is losing $130,000 a year. And that's out at the Sierra Army Depot. Your grand jury report states that you need to get rid of it, to do something with it. You've got some big bills coming down on zero interest loans that you gave to that project that are going to be coming due when you're no longer sitting there. So I see a little bit of a conflict here that you're taking credit for everything that's balanced and all wonderful, but when the bell's going to come due, you're not going to be around.
I beg to differ. Lassen County is debt-free. We received the land that he's talking about, which is in a redevelopment area, which if you would have read our last 2 weeks ago, we passed a budget. We disbanded our redevelopment. We do not have redevelopment anymore. We are debt-free. The land that he's talking about came to us from the federal government, which was the Herlong Army Depot, and we were forced to take that land to take care of our community down there. So remember, taxes that come into the county, in Lassen County, when you pay $1 in property tax, 72 cents goes to the schools and 19 cents goes to the county. And that's a fact. I know our budget a lot better than this gentleman thinks he knows my budget. We have balanced it for 16 years, and we are debt-free. We have funded our unfunded liabilities, and we are funding our pensions.
I don't question that you're not balanced, sir. What I question is where the money comes from. And when you've had an increase of close to 30% in your budget over the last 4 to 5 years, when everyone else is struggling, that's because government's growing in Lassen County.
I'm actually enjoying this. Because we run it the same way we run the farm. When we have a windfall, we put the money away for a rainy day. In Lassen County, that's what we've done. We are truly debt-free. We live off the property taxes that come in from farms and ranches and the businesses. You're right, we have lost a lot of businesses, and that's due to the economic downturn and the spotted owl and those things, and that was of no control of anyone on the Lassen County Board of Supervisors.
Oh, we're done? I was just starting to enjoy this. Okay, well, I'm glad we used up a lot of float time. That's what it's for. Okay, Mr. Bosetti, you'll have your question number 3 to Mr. Dahle.
My campaign headquarters, just for all you people out here who are in favor of passing Proposition 32, my campaign headquarters at the corner of Victor and Hartnell will be the headquarters for the yes on Proposition 32. They're shipping in all of the pamphlets and the brochures. I think we're getting, Gary, we're getting bumper stickers and things like this will be coming into us. So please feel free to come by the campaign headquarters. But when you were in town, Ryan, and you were meeting with the unions to get support, you were asked by them what your position was on Proposition 32. Would you share with us what your answer was to them?
Actually, I'll share my answer right now with all of you folks. We definitely need to do, the SEIU and the California Teachers Association are running amok, and they have a lot of money, and that's causing a big problem for the state budget. But on Proposition 32, it also restricts businesses, incorporated businesses, such as the local farmers that have supported me. So I have not taken a position on Proposition 32. I have taken a position on Proposition 30. I'm opposed to that, and I'm also opposed to Proposition 31.
Well, one of the interviewing committees related to me that your answer was a little different than that. That your answer was, well, I know that Rick's going to be against it, so I think I'm probably going to have to be against it.
Okay, we'll update you on your float time here before I ask the last question.
Just want to thank you guys for using some of your float time. I was getting worried there. Mr. Bosetti, you have 8 minutes and 15 seconds, and Mr. Dahle, 8 minutes and 30 seconds.
I hope we can chew it up with this question. If not, I'll have to ask another one. And Mr. Dahle will go first. For the answer, it's a 1 minute time limit. If you were governor, what steps would you take to make California solvent, productive, and prosperous?
Well, first thing I do is institute a part-time legislature, because the less time they're down there making laws, the better off the business people are in the state. But in all reality, we need to grow jobs, take away regulation, and cut taxes. This state leads. In fact, I have a note right here. They're a leader in a lot of things. They're a leader in gas taxes, state sales tax, income tax, corporate income tax, property taxes per residential unit, the business climate tax. It's the worst, the third worst in the U.S. State and local per capita tax burden, state and local per capita debt. We are in debt. We're leading the nation in all the things that we shouldn't be leading the nation in. We need to get our house in order, just like we have done in Lassen County.
Realistically, or a wish list? I mean, the same things I mentioned when I first started. We needed to totally reform CEQA, folks. No one wants to rape and pillage the land and destroy it. But we need to get it to where it's no longer, you know, it was meant to take care of our environment, but it's become the leverage of the environmental left extremists to stop manufacturing and resources, mining. So first thing was get rid of, not get rid, but totally rewrite that and deal with that. Most importantly, though, we got a $250 billion unfunded liability in CalPERS pension. That's an elephant in the room that's standing on one leg and wobbling, folks. And if that guarantee for the 7.75% return isn't repealed in the next term down there, folks, we're in a big world of hurt. The city of Redding this year, even with, I'm going to use some float, but the city of Redding is going to have to pay $21 million this year for its pensions. And that's after we got the concessions back from the unions that you all voted for. And it's going to go up here again. CalPERS only got a 1% return this year on their investments, folks. So the other 6.6 or 6.5%, 6.75% is on you. It's on each and every one of you. And you already work hard enough now. You don't need to be paying for anyone else at this point in time. And if we take and get this off of this defined guaranteed benefit plan to more of a contribution plan, then I think we're going to see ourselves get in a much better situation here in the state.
Okay, I'm going to throw in one more question. And Mr. Bosetti will go first. In the last legislative session, AB 1492 included a 1% lumber tax. If you were an assemblyman, or for that matter, a senator, during the vote of this bill, how would you have voted and why?
I would have voted yes in favor of it, because that would have been the best thing to do for the people in District 1. It might not have been happy, it might not have made my party happy, but it would have been the best thing for the people in District 1. Because that's going to help our timber industry so much so. Now I know that there's people that are endorsing me that voted no on that. But you know, the first thing that you have to think about are the people that you're representing. I'm not representing some friends over here, people who are just giving me money. I'm going to represent 450,000 people in District 1. And you want to talk about a diverse crowd. You going from Happy Valley, or Happy Camp, Syad Valley, to Tahoe City. That's around the world in some places.
I would have absolutely voted against it. Rick's signed the new tax pledge, I believe. Maybe he hasn't, but that was a tax on timber products. And the reason not only the tax I would vote against it, but the second reason is I think it sets a bad precedence. We are taking that money and we are doing environmental work on those THP projects. The next move will be when they want to tax my sack of seed or a pound of beef or something for some environmental reason that they've strummed up on somebody's farm or business.
I did sign the tax pledge, but it also states in the tax pledge that if you get equal or offsetting, then you have no problem in doing it. And when you have the largest employer, one of the largest private employers in your community that has 6 mills, that had they lost that judgment of $600 million, they would have filed bankruptcy. And I have to protect those people.
I guess you can justify it however you want.
Okay, Elizabeth, before we get to the closing statement, we'll give you an update on your float time. So you will have 3-minute closing statement plus or minus whatever your float time is.
So I'll add 3 minutes to your float time. Mr. Bosetti, you have 11 minutes, 15 seconds. And
Wow.
Mr. Dahle, you have 12 minutes, 45 seconds.
Okay.
Have at it.
It's Mr. Dahle went first with the introduction. No, Mr. Bosetti did. So Mr. Dahle will go first with the closing statement.
Again, I want to thank you all for having us out here tonight. There are a lot of differences between me and my opponent. And, you know, the counties represent an extension of the state. And we deal with the jails, we deal with social services, we deal with all the laws that basically get passed at the state level. Cities rely on sales tax, and they deal with municipality issues. The laws that happen in Sacramento, I've been familiar with. I've worked for 16 years as a Lassen County Board of Supervisors working on issues that affect the people of all this district. I've worked on the resource issues I mentioned about serving as a member on the regional board, the Regional Council for Rural Counties Board. I served on the National Association of Counties Board. There are 3,000 counties in the United States. We had a board that we served together on. I was the chairman of the Energy, Environment, and Land Use Committee. I received an award for the public lands, promoting good stewardship on public lands for the 16 western states. We are under attack in this country and in this state, in our region with natural resources. We need to take some of the regulations away that are hurting our businesses. Mine personally, we have air quality problems that are causing. We need to be burning natural gas instead of diesel, but nobody wants to talk about that. We'd rather put windmills and solar panels up. Natural gas is abundant in the United States, and we should be using it as a power source to power our vehicles and to keep our air clean. But it seems for some reason we can't get past that. The other differences are that I've been supported by all these folks that are peers of yours and mine, and the reason they support me is because a real leader brings people together to solve problems. I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, Independent. We need jobs. Jobs are number one. California has the greatest infrastructure of any state when it comes to water systems and dams and power generation. We have the Silicon Valley. We have the movie industry. We are a diverse state, but the state legislature has taken away the freedoms that we had in the state and are driving it into bankruptcy. The number one thing that America needs to deal with is its debt. They're printing money at the federal level, which is going to devalue your dollar, and it is devaluing your dollar. When it was just a piece of paper, when it's worth nothing, it doesn't matter anymore. And folks, we're that close. In California, we're close to Greece, but nobody's talking about it. We're talking about they don't even know the number, $300 to $500 billion in pensions that we need to take care of. It's time to get our house in order. I've served for 16 years balancing budgets. I've been in business for 20 years. I know how hard it is to put somebody to work. I'm a successful business owner. I don't need to go to the state legislature. I'm running because I want a better future for my children. I would like to be able to pass that land on to them if they so choose to be farmers. Remember, I talked a little bit about that homestead up there in Siskiyou County that my grandfather drove a stake in the ground and claimed because he was a World War I veteran? In 2001, the federal government took our water away from us for a sucker fish. Now they're trying to take the dams out on the Klamath River for the coho salmon. Folks, it's not about fish. It's about taking our private property rights away, making me change an air filter on my 2,000-year Kenworth truck because some environmentalist thinks it's the thing to do. California has to stop changing the rules in the middle of the game for us business people. Business people will not take the risk if it's not somewhat guaranteed. Entrepreneurs need to have given the freedom to make this state a great state. I will work as hard for you as I do those 3 children of mine. The one thing you can't call me is lazy. I put 50,000 miles on my car. We're running a grassroots campaign, and I've produced most of the resources for my campaign right in this district. So I ask that you go to my website, briandahle.com. I ask you to look at my endorsements. I ask you to look at my heart. I'm doing this for the right reasons. We need leaders and people that can bring people together. I have a proven track record of 16 years. I would ask you for your vote. I would ask that God bless this country and God bless this state. This is a great nation, and we are at a turning point, and we need to turn out the vote and kick some of these bad people out of office. Thank you so much for having me here, and I look forward to talking with you later.
Well, born and raised right here in Shasta County. A lot of you know that. Some of you might not. I've got my 84-year-old father sitting right here, whose father came to California in 1917, 20, went to work for the Red River Lumber Company. I have roots here as well, folks. And not only have I only been in politics for 6 years, I'm not a career politician at all. When I came in the political world, we had nothing but a world of hurt, and we had to get it fixed. Now, do we have a good situation in Sacramento? No, not at all. We need someone who can fix something, not a maintainer. You need someone to go down and be effective. And I've been effective everywhere, folks, that I've been. The 32 years that I've been back in Redding after I came home from playing baseball, I've been involved on school boards, the hospital board. I was on the Chico State Advisory Board. You want to talk about being involved in your communities. I probably personally been responsible for handing out somewhere in the neighborhood of about 60 or 70 scholarships for kids to go to college through baseball, and then also the 14 years I was down at Chico State. I know how to give back to my community. I really do. And as far as needing a job, this is brought up every time. I don't need a job. I got a wife that loves me, folks. I got a house that's damn near paid for, 4 kids that are raised and through college already, and 2 cabins in the mountains. Life is good. But I'm jumping into this because we have, as Brian was correct in stating, a real problem at the state. And you need someone who's going to be able to be effective. If I haven't been able to bring people together, then you people here in Redding would know that better than anyone. In 2004, after our swim team raised $250,000 to help with the pool, we hosted the Western Zones. It was the most successful swim meet that had been in Northern California, and the people in the USSA Swimming said it was the best one they'd had in 5 years. That's all volunteer, folks. That's being able to play well with others. So what I'm really looking forward to is when we get through to the end of this, and you guys are going to choose. And you're going to choose a CEO of a company. And you're going to look at a lot of government endorsements. One of them that he didn't mention is CAL FIRE. Who's the largest proponent for the fire tax fee? CAL FIRE. both CAL FIRE and the Sheriff's Association want Prop 30 to pass. I don't. I don't want Prop 30 to pass. We don't need more taxes on this economy the way it is right now, folks. It'll be a stake in our heart. So when you go to the ballots on November 6th, think about who's going to be the most effective for you down there. Because sometimes you have to be willing to make really, really difficult decisions. And when people criticize about closing a fire station and laying off firemen and not backfilling police positions, no one gets up in the morning, I know I didn't, and said, this is what I want to do today. But when you sit down with them and say, there's a $2.5 million hole here, how are we going to do it? And they tell you, go take it from somebody else. You can't do that, folks. You have to make that tough decision. But here, right now, today, all 8 of our police positions that we lost to attrition are being filled. Okay? And I hope you've heard the news that the fire station is reopening on October 15th. And 6 of the firemen are coming back on. Because when we made the motion to take those concessions, I put it in my motion, folks, that not one penny of that money would go into our general fund. Every penny of it would be set aside, and as soon as we could hire these people back, we will, and we did. And I keep my word, folks. I'm a team player, and I'm honest, and I keep my word. And I'd appreciate your vote come November 6th. Thank you.
Let's give him a big round of applause.